Tonight on Primetime Local News, the annual Parade of Lights brightened up downtown Lloydminster with Christmas spirit. Plus, we look back on an outstanding year for all the Lakeland College Wrestlers sports teams, and a look into the final weekend events before Christmas with what's happening.
Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Lloydminster's 10th annual Parade of Lights was a colorful night filled with lots of amazing sights and sounds. Arlene Hoffert has more.
Last night's Parade of Lights lit up downtown Lloyd with a wide array of Christmas-themed colors and music. Ryan LeBlanc, the parade's founder, says that the night never fails to take his breath away.
Every year, it just blows me away what people come up with for their entries, and as they pull into the parking lot and we are lining them up, it's just amazing to see. And they got their families and friends, and everybody's just in such a good mood, and it's just nothing but smiles. So it was really great to see tonight.
A big part of the Parade of Lights is that the money it raises goes towards supporting great causes in the city, like the Rescue Squad, the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation, and the Lloydex Association, as well as Lloydminster Sexual Assault Services. LeBlanc says seeing everyone step up to help out is what Lloyd is all about.
Amazing. You know, it's just Lloydminster's got such good community support and community spirit, and it's so amazing to see that back into our community. And as I said before, you know, it makes me proud to call this, you know, this city home. I love Lloydminster, and I'm so proud of what our community was able to accomplish tonight.
While the parade was a great time for everyone who attended, the youngest parade goers were definitely the most excited to be there to see the floats and collect some candy.
It's really cool. I love all the trucks and how they're all beeping to get all of our attention and all the lights. Yes, my pockets are already full.
I think they're really pretty. Yeah, my pockets are full too.
With a great turnout and a unique set of floats, it's safe to say that the Parade of Lights was a success. Lane Hoffert, Primetime Local News.
It's the weekend before Christmas, and the Border City is host to a number of events as the most anticipated holiday of the year draws near ever closer. Heather Klagas has more in this week's edition of What's Happening.
The Border City Farmers Market is hosting their final Christmas market of the season tomorrow right here at the Service Sports Center. There's going to be over 90 vendors here, and it is a great place to pick up unique, one-of-a-kind Christmas gifts and also to get all those last-minute items that you need for Christmas. Plus, there's going to be some live entertainment. Brianna Gammond, Glenn Hagel, and Kamisha Clark, they'll all be performing throughout the day. Also, you'll have a chance to enter to win $100 worth of market money. The Border City Farmers Market, their Christmas market. It's coming up tomorrow right here at the Service Sports Center from 11 until 5. Get your skates out for tomorrow. The Lloydminster Youth Council invites you and your family to the Russ Robertson Arena for a fun afternoon of skating. It all gets underway at 3:30. There's going to be different games. There'll be face painting, a chance to go skating. Then later on at 5, it's open skating for everybody. And starting at 6, a chance to play shinny as well. You and your family are invited out for a fun afternoon hosted by the Lloydminster Youth Council. For more details, you can visit Lloydminster Youth Council on Facebook. New Year's Eve is getting closer, and the Legion here in Lloydminster, they're hosting a New Year's Eve party. It's going to feature live music from Bonfire Moon, a light lunch, and an opportunity to ring in the new year with some great people. Tickets only $25 in advance. Just stop by the Legion in Lloydminster to get your ticket. Whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe, stay healthy, and have a Merry Christmas.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
And now for a look at our weather forecast, here's our Lane Hoffert.
Here's the first look at your evening weather. I'm Lane Hoffert, and thanks for joining me. Right now in Lloydminster, it is -15, but that 19-kilometer-an-hour wind is making it feel a little bit cooler, making it feel more like -24. The sun is out in the Border City right now with just a few clouds kind of covering it periodically.
Now taking a look around the region, you can see all the temperatures are at about the same. St. Paul, Vermilion, and Wainwright, as well as Provost, are all -12. Cold Lake and Lac La Biche, as well as Marwayne, are -14. Bonnyville's -13, with Vegreville and Edmonton -8. Over in Saskatchewan, about the same story. Isle Cross -15. Pierceland, Green Lake, Meadow Lake, and North Battleford all -13. St. Walburg and Maidstone -14, and Macklin -12. Tonight in North Battleford, it's going to get down to -17. It will be a cloudier night with some 11-kilometer-an-hour winds. So a windy night in North Battleford. That wind is going to carry through to the day in North Battleford, but it will be -8, low clouds, and not as cold. That wind will maybe make it feel a little bit cooler than -8, but it should still be a nicer day in North Battleford. Tonight in Cold Lake, it will be -19. Clear earlier, and then those clouds are going to build up. Only 6-kilometer-an-hour winds, so less windy in Cold Lake than it is in North Battleford and Lloydminster. Cold Lake, that wind is going to stay at 6 kilometers an hour, but the day will be warmer in Cold Lake tomorrow at -8. Not as cold, with some decreasing clouds. So the clouds are going to build up at night, and they're going to go back down as the day progresses. Now taking a look at Lloydminster's forecast tonight, will be -16 with low clouds and 11-kilometer-an-hour winds. So the wind will die down just a little bit, but I imagine those temperatures will stay at about the same with all that cold. Now taking a look at tomorrow's forecast in the border city, it's going to be -11 and cloudy at 6 a.m. That cloud will continue throughout the day. It's going to pick up and get a little bit more windy at noon, but the temperature will be warmer. It'll be -8, and then 6 p.m. the wind will die down. It will be -12, and then at midnight it will be -13, with that wind staying at 9 kilometers an hour. Now taking a look at your 3-day forecast, tomorrow will be not as cold, with a high of -7 and a low of -14. Sunday we will see some low clouds with a high of -8 and a low of -10. And then Monday, which is also Christmas Eve, we will have some decreasing clouds, and it will be the nicest day of the 3, with a high of -1 and a low of -5. So maybe a better day to drive home to see the relatives for Christmas, as long as we don't get any of that slush too bad, or that frozen rain or ice. But that is your first look at the weather. We will have more news after the break.
Cold Lake had many different events in 2024, but also faced some challenges along the way. Our Jackson Fontaine caught up with the mayor of Cold Lake to talk about 2024 and what's in store for Cold Lake in 2025.
I'm pleased to be joined with the mayor of Cold Lake, Craig Copeland, for our year-end interview. Craig, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
So Craig, just tell me a little bit about how the year went for Cold Lake.
The year went really well. You can sort of see that the economy is starting to pick up, post-COVID, doing a lot of capital projects inside the city of Cold Lake, and just more people coming to events, and a little bit more excitement going on in this year for sure.
And what kind of events did Cold Lake host this year?
Yeah, Cold Lake loves to do festivals in the summertime, especially. The winter, there's usually events that are done by various nonprofits to sort of, keep the winter going. And then the city takes over for sure, kicks off with Canada Day. Prior to that, a big gala that we have in our community is called Hearts for Healthcare, which is all the proceeds go towards, helping out at the hospital or doctor clinics, buying equipment. And usually it's a party of the year, up $100,000 every year there. Canada Day was a lot of fun there. And then, of course, the big one in July is the air show. And so every 2 years, Fort Wayne Cold Lake hosts the air show. And this year, unfortunately, with the smoke, that caused problems. But we still managed to put like 25,000 people came through. And it's a great event. The static air display was just phenomenal this year. We had the Italian acrobatic team. And then, Aqua Days is an event that's down at the lake. A lot of fun for the kids. And then Mudfest was in town, Summer Rush, and then end of the summer was Feast on the Beach. So a lot of music, a lot of good food, and we had Rib Fest in town. So a lot of great events. And then this winter, basic going for winter is Bullaramas and stuff like that.
Just tell me a little bit more about these events and how you felt they went.
We have great crowd. It's tough for the nonprofits and even those for profits that are putting on big events. The costs of putting on anything related to music right now, the production costs, the bands, everything's going up in value. So it's great that we can get, a lot of excitement in the community, get people busy. And what it does is it creates a great economic stimulus inside the community, whether it's the gas stations, the hotels, the restaurants. And so it really, it's a big economic driver, especially that's why council supports a lot of tournaments. So the community grants helps organization put on big hockey tournaments or soccer tournaments, etc., lacrosse, and we want to do that because we get a lot of people staying in our hotels and eating in the community, right?
And Craig, did you guys have any big projects go on this year in Cold Lake?
Yeah, we had a lot of capital projects, some big ones, kind of ones that have continued for a bit, but certainly Lakeshore Drive, which is right beside the marina going northbound. What was happening there was the bank was sort of failing, and so we had to come in and prop up the bank, and we're building this big seawall and big retaining wall, and we came in and replaced all the undergrounds, the water and sewer to all of the houses there on that street, along the street. And so it's going to be finishing up next summer, but it's going to look beautiful. It's going to be quite the view for everybody. And that was a major project. The other one was we kicked off the wastewater treatment plant, which is, usually not a very exciting project dealing with everybody's business, but that one's going to be state-of-the-art facility. So that's put on by the Regional Utility Service Commission, which the City of Cold Lake is a big partner in that. And so they're going to have a state-of-the-art facility, like I said, and that's a project that's starting construction this year, and it'll go into next year.
What are some obstacles that City Council faced in 2024?
Well, our biggest thing is that when we went into the 24 budget deliberations, it was quite obvious that there was some sort of new issues that were coming up for municipalities. Cold Lake wasn't unique to it. Homeless file here has been, crazy, and the crime and the drugs, the meth that's in town. So that was a big change. Council put a lot of money towards private security and also manning up municipal enforcement by 24 hours a day. We brought in a lot of bylaws preventing kind of people hanging around back alleys and just randomly panhandling. And so we went really aggressive on the homeless camps because we do have a shelter here that takes in both men and women. But unfortunately, a lot of the homeless people don't want to necessarily go to the shelter. They'd rather live in the bush. And that's caused, we had over 20 fires this year. And so that, it wears and tears on the RCMP and all our enforcement people and the fire department, just the wear and tear of dealing with these shelters. We moved over 50,000 pounds of debris from the camps. They're just hoarders stealing stuff and then building these camps. And we just can't allow that behavior going on.
How can obstacles like these be avoided in 2025?
Well, I don't know. I think it's happening everywhere, right? And so, interesting enough, like John Howard, who runs the society there that runs the shelter for us, provincially funded. The city came in and purchased we bought a drilling camp, and it works really well for a shelter. It's a 20-bed shelter, and so we are seeing that people don't necessarily want to go inside the shelter. They want to live just randomly. And how we fix this problem, it's something's got to be done in our area. I'll just say Cold Lake, but in the general area in Northeast, we need a mental health facility. We need a detox drug treatment facility, so people can go in there for long term, not just a short duration. We want a long term treatment facility up here in Northeast Alberta, and that's something that council is hoping that the province is going to fund up in our area for sure.
And finally, Craig, moving forward to 2025, what are the goals and expectations for Cold Lake?
I think Cold Lake is going to be in 25. We're going to see a really exciting building get built. It's been a work in progress. A local firm is doing it, but certainly Stepping Stones is the crisis center for women's shelter. It's going to be about a 63-bed facility that will be completed going into the summer of 25. That's going to be exciting. To have that. We have many great professionals in Cold Lake that service the social end of it. So that's exciting. But, looking at, for us, we're looking for the provincial budget this spring, in the spring of 25. We're sure hoping that Highway 28 is going to be finally recognized in a major, millions and millions of dollars to twin that highway and also to do passing lanes. So that'll be a big one we're looking for. And we're hoping that in 25, we have final conclusion with our outstanding tax litigation with the federal government. It's called PILT, Payment in lieu of taxes. We're challenging them on that discrepancy. And so we're hoping that gets concluded in 25 and we can move on.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this today and wish you nothing but the best for 2025. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Now here are the closing market numbers for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
The Public School Division in Lloydminster underwent tons of changes, unveiling new programs and new expansions. Our Callan Dunlop sat down with the Director of Education for the Public School Division to find out about their year.
Today I'm joined by Jason Neville, Director of Education for the Lloydminster Public School Division. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem, thank you.
And we're here today to sort of recap the year in review. So much has happened for the Public School Division. If you want to just start with your general thoughts on the year as a whole.
Sure. I thought it was a fabulous year. We had some highlights for sure would be our Avery Outreach School. We had our largest graduation class ever with Avery, so that was a huge celebration for us. We had 2 teachers win some major awards. We had a teacher win the Arbos Award through the STF, and then we also had a teacher win the Prime Minister's Award of Excellence for STEM. So some huge celebrations there for a couple members of LPSD staff. And then, of course, our big, the last year and a half, 2 years, expansion of the high school, and then the grade reconfiguration that followed that. So we've moved our grade 9s into the high school, moved our grade 6s up to our middle years. So it was a huge undertaking last year, but it's a fabulous space. The students are loving it. Community groups are loving it, so it's very exciting.
I'd like to also delve into the Pathways program, which is a new thing that the public school is unveiling that is taking place this year. Can you talk a little bit about what this is and a little bit about each of the pathways specifically?
Sure. There's 3 pathways. We have a sport pathway, a land-based pathway, and an art pathway. So really what it does is it's just sets some students up for, if they want to kind of focus on an area of passion, they can take some classes that are designed for that area of passion and really focus on it. We're starting in our grade 9, grade 10 grades, and it's just kind of grow with the students as they go through it. So yeah, it hopefully will increase some engagement, make school a little more exciting for some students.
And you spoke on it already, but I'd like to talk a little bit more about the expansion for Lloyd Comp, a little bit about kind of what the new space is being utilized for and what it's intended to be used for in the future.
Sure. We've got a cultural room that we've been using for different presentations and classes there. We have some more shop class, a home ec class, or a foods lab. was added. And then of course what everyone sees when they come in right off the bat is our huge Synergy Place, which is really the size of 2 gyms. So that's been huge in relieving some of the stress in that building for gym time, but also stress across the city for some gym time. I know it's booked quite often in the evenings and used there too. So.
And I'd like to move on to kind of your role as Director of Education more specifically. More with this being your 3rd year here, what have you taken away from these 2 years that you've been Director of Education, and what are you looking to improve on as you enter 2025?
I've loved my 2 years. It's been a learning curve for sure, not only to the division, but to the city of Lloydminster. Really feel like we've settled in here and enjoying our time. But definitely always looking to add new and exciting things for our students, provide more support for staff wherever we can. So it's just, now that you know the division, you start kind of planning how could we improve in those areas.
Really wanted to look more into 2025. There's a lot of things on the horizon for the public school division. If you want to just talk on some of the things upcoming.
Sure. We started the school year off with introducing a couple new academies. Our academies are quite popular. So we brought in a volleyball academy that started in September, and that runs until January. And it's been full and seems to be going really well. And then in February we have a basketball academy we're starting, and that will go from February till the end of the year, and registration is full for that as well. So it's great that those were accepted. Second, we introduced full-time kindergarten in 3 of our schools, so that we're excited to see the positive impact that's going to have with some of those students that get to come every day now for kindergarten and see what their readiness looks like for grade 1 once they do a full year of full-time kindergarten. So that's exciting as well. And then we have just coming up right in January, we have the LCHS Fine Arts group. They're putting on a musical at the Vic Juba on the 17th and 18th, and they're performing Hadestown, the teen version. So we're excited for that, and I'm looking forward to hitting one of those shows as well.
All right, perfect. That covers all of my questions for today. Thank you so much for recapping the year with me and also looking into the future. Thank you so much for coming down to the station today.
Excellent, thank you.
Now here are your agriculture prices for today. The Lakeland College wrestlers had a very busy and successful year with all of their teams, including winning a national title in their own gym. And the teams look poised for another great year in 2025. I spoke with Lakeland College's athletic director to learn more. Today I'm joined by Alan Rogan, the athletic director of Lakeland College, and he is here today to recap what a fantastic year it was this past year, as well as the upcoming season for all of the Lakeland Wrestlers teams. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Alan, and of course all the teams being very accommodating throughout all of these years with us here at Primetime Local News.
Yeah, no, it's great to be here. It was a great year, and it's a good start to the new year for sure. So.
All right, so let's start with the big news that happened, or the big events that happened this year was the women's basketball team and you guys hosting the Women's Basketball CCAA Nationals. Just two things that came together, and both were so exciting and so magical with the finish of winning, getting to host, and also the girls winning the national championship for the first time here in this last few years. And so just tell me about that and how exciting and how financially the impact was for the Nationals as well.
Yeah, no, so hosting Nationals, we don't get the opportunity to host it often. We compete against a lot of other institutions across the province and across the country. It rolls around every 5 years to our conference. So to be able to host a national championship here in Lloydminster is great. We knew that being given the ability to host, our community just always steps up when we're able to host. So the event itself was incredible. Every team that came had nothing but rave reviews to say about what we were able to do in the community. It was great. And of course, the pinnacle, I guess, the cherry on top was our women's basketball team being able to win at home their first national title a week after our women's volleyball won back-to-back. So it was a pretty intense time period with playoffs, and then finishing it off with our women's basketball team winning a national title at home. It was fantastic. Like, I think we won 5 conference titles last year and 2 national titles within a 2-week period. So it was a phenomenal year for sure.
And you mentioned the women's team getting the back-to-back national wins. It's been a really big thing here in my time here in Lloydminster that volleyball has continued to rise and rise and has become a very popular sport in this town. And have you seen that not only with how much better your teams have been getting over these past few years, but also just how much more the community has been supporting and what the Dyers have done for volleyball in this community?
You bet. When the Dyers moved into Lloydminster, club volleyball, there wasn't a lot of club volleyball. There were some good high school programs for sure. And they became very invested in making sure that youth in the community had an opportunity on the volleyball side if they were interested in that sport. And they've been really able to grow club volleyball in this community where, there's so many kids playing club volleyball, whether with our program or others in this geographical area. It's been great. It's good to see kids playing sport. And we're able to see some of those student athletes transition from playing club with our club into playing on our teams. And there's also other student athletes that have gone on to play with other post-secondaries across, not just in Alberta, but across the entire country. So giving those local community youth an opportunity to go and play past high school is a goal for sure. And if we can get some of those young men and women playing volleyball for our teams, that's even great. So.
And just going back to the volleyball teams, though, the women's team continued their dominance. Another win. They've looked very good as well, starting off this season. And then the men's team, best season in program history. Just talk to me about how the Dyers, for just the Rustlers, how they've been able to develop the programs, and the men's and women's team looking better and better every year and being nationally ranked nowadays.
Yeah, you bet. You're able to stick around with the program. You're able to retain coaches for a period of time. They are able to build a culture, a positive culture with the student athletes, and then you build a reputation. And being able to retain coaches, whether it's with their volleyball program or other programs, we've been able to build that positive culture, which student athletes want to come and compete for us. And with that comes winning. And the Dyer brothers have been able to do that on the volleyball side, as well as all of our other coaches in soccer and volleyball and hockey. They've built that culture first, and then the wins come out of that. And that's what we've been able to see from a lot of our programs. And, it kind of proves for itself, right? With women's volleyball back-to-back national titles, men's volleyball having the best finish ever last year. A lot of teams back this year. So, we're pretty excited to see what they can do this year, and we're going to be hosting the ACAC Championships at home this year. So, in front of our gym is a definite advantage for our teams when they play at home, and we're hoping that we'll see even a better finish this year from our men's team. So.
And you mentioned some of those other teams that had done very good, and maybe not getting the ACAC championship, but getting the silver medal in women's hockey. The men's basketball team was bronze this year, and then there was also the curling team that did very well this year as well. And so with some of those newer programs, with the hockey team and Doyle Church taking over as the women's soccer coach, how is it seeing those new programs developing and gaining a lot of traction as time has gone on over these last few years? Yeah,
you bet. Our curling program seems to always be winning one conference banner every year, which has been great. They had success last year. They're competing in their first event coming up here this weekend in November. With our hockey program, to get the start that they have in the ACAC is very rare. It's a true testament to the leadership of that program and just the community getting behind our women's hockey program and saying, yeah, we're going to be there for you. So I think everybody combined has really allowed our women's hockey program to get to the level they are quite quickly. And where they are right now, they're sitting think 8-0 right now, or 10-0 right now, and having a great start to the season. And silver medal last year, and it could have went either way. They could have been champions last year as well. So our women's hockey program's done some great things, and just not on the ice, but in the community, in the classroom as well. So, you know, like all of our programs, as sort of the proud papa, I'm pretty proud of all of our athletic teams and everything they've been able to do and accomplish over the years, and what they're doing this year. So.
And so, looking ahead into this coming winter and into March, you mentioned that the men's volleyball will be hosting the ACAC championships, but you guys are also hosting both men's and women's futsal championships. So just, it's not the national championship, but being able to host 3 ACAC championships, and possibly with, depending on how good the women's basketball team does, you could also be hosting those championships as well. And just how exciting that is to be bringing fans from different sports to Lloydminster from all across Alberta to enjoy high-quality college sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure what I was thinking when we were at the table last year at the AGM and we put in bids for championships, but you're right, we're definitely going to be hosting men's volleyball, we're going to be hosting men's and women's futsal. There's a really good chance we're going to be hosting women's basketball. We'll know that in January. And then with our women's hockey program doing as well as they are right now, there's a good chance to be hosting women's hockey playoff games inside that same 3-week period, so we could be hosting 5 championships in 3 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, and it's great to bring that to our community here, because one thing we know we have in this Lloydminster area, this community, is that we got great fan support and we got great volunteer support. So when we host events like this, or multiple events like this, we know that our community's going to come out and they're going to support us, and like they always have, and it's just a great thing to be part of this community. It just elevates the experience for student athletes that are here competing in our teams, as well as those student athletes to come from other communities and other institutions to compete in our community. And it's an advantage for us, obviously, but it's still a great experience for anybody coming in to see our fans and the experience they can get when they come here to compete in our facility during a championship.
Well, thank you so much for all the information and for helping us out here with the Lakeland Rustlers and having such great sports for us to cover here in the community. Thank you so much for having us out all the time and having such a great season this year, and a very exciting season coming up for 2025 as well. And now a look at your adorable pets with our Pets of the Day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
"2024 was a busy year for the Lloydminster RCMP, with many events and highlights along the way. Arlene Hofford sat down with Constable Melanie Flynn to find out more.
I'm joined here today with Constable Melanie Flynn from the Lloydminster RCMP. And yeah, 2024 has been quite the year. Why don't you just take me through, the RCMP's 2024?
Thanks for having me, by the way. My role with the Lloydminster RCMP is the community policing unit here at the detachment. And so I will talk a little bit about our community policing initiatives this year and what those looked like, and then highlight a little bit more about, just touch a little bit on some of the, I guess, concerns of the community that we've heard and that we've kind of addressed over the past year, so 2024. So yeah, since this year's been a good one, we had joined on with the Lloydminster Home Base Committee. So we got invited to join with their committee, which has been really great from a community policing standpoint, being able to connect with other advocates in the city, and because we're hearing a lot of concern, a lot of chatter around unhoused population and concerns and worries around that. So being able to be on that committee has been really helpful. We've had lots of successes with housing individuals, and it's just, I a committee that really is working kind of outside of the box, which is great to see. We have participated in several senior engagement events this year, including the senior lunch and learn hosted by LEAP, and some of the senior luncheons over at the Olive Tree, as well as some presentations and just connections over at the Dr. Hemstock Cook buildings and Jubilee Home, which has been really great. It's great to connect with our seniors. It's nice to hear what their concerns are around the city and around policing. And I heard we had lots of questions and talk around scooters and pedestrian traffic and stuff like that. So we were able to address some of those concerns. Starting off the year with the warmer months. So in the summer, we saw kind of an influx of an increase in bike thefts and a lot of community concern around that. A lot of chatter on our social media and stuff like that regarding the bike thefts. So we did put in some operations to combat that. So those were headed by our crime reduction team. They were able to catch and charge some of the offenders by implementing some outside of the box thinking as well. We also really promoted our bike index to the public. And I think we saw the public, the residents really latching on to the bike index and actually participating with it. And our city bylaw really were the driving force around that. So we were able to catch and charge a few of those offenders, which was good. And then now that it's cold, it's cooled down and we don't see as much of that action anymore around bikes. But we anticipate, once the melt comes, there may be an increase again, but we will again put on some of those operations to combat that. When fall kind of rolled around, schools got back into play. That's my primary role is school resource officer work along with Constable Booth. He is at the public schools, so preparing with the schools like safety plans and lockdown procedures. We did a lot of that in September. There were some new school changeouts this year, like Avery moving into the old Bar Colony. So kind of working with the schools to develop strong safe plans there. We did some of that in September. And then in October, we participated in the Trunk or Treat event. That was really wonderful, hosted by the Lloyd Co-op at the Lloyd X grounds. We saw over 2,000 youth come and connect with us there. We were able to host that in partnership with Midwest Victim Services. So that was a great partnership.
So you guys got new body worn cameras. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Alberta RCMP have rolled out their new body worn camera system. So you will see this this year as well as into 2025, you'll see officers on the road with some cameras on their chest or on their vests. And that's our new body worn camera system. So there is public policy out there about that if you want to do gather further information about it. But as officers, we're looking forward to just having that having them for our safety and also safety of the public.
All righty, well, perfect. Thanks a lot for taking the time to, just kind of give us a rundown of 2024 and tell us a little bit about 2025. You have Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and Happy Holidays to everybody at the RCMP.
Yeah, you as well. The Lloyd RCMP wish everyone, their families, and everyone they're going to visit amongst the holidays a safe and happy holidays.
Coming up after the break, we will have an extended look at weather.
Welcome back. Here is the final look at your evening weather. Right now in Lloydminster, it is minus 15 with that 19-kilometer-an-hour wind, making it feel a little bit closer to minus 24. Sunny day, but a little bit of clouds out in the border city. Now, looking at some of the conditions, it's actually a little bit cooler in Lloydminster than it is in the rest of central Alberta. Cold Lake, minus 13. Athabasca and Whitecourt, both minus 12. Edmonton, minus 8. Edson, minus 4. Jasper, plus 5. Rocky Mountain House, minus 6. And Red Deer, minus 9. Now, those Lloydminster temperatures do match a little bit better with central Saskatchewan. Prince Albert, minus 15. Cold Lake, Meadow Lake, and North Battleford, all minus 13. And Saskatoon and Melfort, minus 12. Moving up north in Uranium City, it's minus 18. Stony Rapids and South End, both minus 27. Wollaston Lake, minus 25. Flin Flon, minus 21. And La Loche and Buffalo Narrows, both minus 14. High Level, minus 17. Fort Chipewyan, minus 13. Fort McMurray, minus 12, as well as Slave Lake. Peace River and Grand Prairie are both at minus 14. Now in southern Alberta, it's plus 3 in Banff and Calgary. Coronation, it's minus 12. Medicine Hat, minus 3. And Lethbridge, plus 9. Must be a nice day out there. Hopefully not a lot of slush. That's always kind of ruins a nice day. Swift Current, minus 2. Moose Jaw, minus 12. Regina, minus 13. Yorkton, minus 15. Kindersley, minus 11. And Estevan is at minus 14. Tonight in Lloydminster, it's going to get down to minus 16, low clouds, and the wind will die down from 19 kilometers an hour to just about 11 kilometers an hour. So we will probably still feel a little bit cooler than minus 16, but maybe it will be a better day. Now, taking a look at your travel forecast, in Meadow Lake tonight, it's going to be minus 17, as well as Paradise Hill, Bonnyville, minus 19, Provost, minus 14, and Isle Cross, minus 15. They will be getting a little bit of evening snow. Minus 15 in Murnum, Pierceland, minus 18, Unity, minus 16, Wainwright, minus 15, and tonight in Calgary, 0 and partly cloudy. Wouldn't we like to have that everywhere? Now, taking a look at your 7-day forecast, it looks like we have quite a nice week ahead. Saturday, not as cold, and minus 7 is the high. Sunday, low clouds with minus 8 being the high. And Christmas Eve on Monday, the clouds will be going away, and it will be minus 1. Christmas Eve will be a very nice day. It'll be plus 3. And then on Christmas, it's going to be minus 1. We're going to have a beautiful Christmas. That is our second look at the evening weather. Thank you for joining me.
And thank you for watching Primetime Local News. My name is Thomas Wildman, and have a great rest of your day.